conference week. Normally we would have had our annual in-person North American Passive House conference, and in lieu of that, due to COVID, we scaled it down to our most fun and most beloved sessions of the Hootenannies, and hopefully a lot of you were able to actually participate in those. I'll give thanks to the speakers here in a little bit. Hopefully in 2021, we will all going to be able to get together again. Phius has been hosting North American Passive House conferences for 15 years now. So this was supposed to be our big anniversary party. And so unfortunately, well, but it is only postponed. We have a little intermezzo with the Hootenanny, and that's great. This is why we're calling it the Phius Summit 2020, the Hootenannies. All right, with that, I'm going to share my screen, and I'd like to give you guys a quick update, a little bit on Phius and what has been a bit of a challenging year. I believe that probably a lot of you can kind of relate to that. Can you guys see my screen? I hope yes, it is here. Lily, will you give me like a thumbs up if I'm ready to go with the slides?
Yes, you're good to go.
Perfect. All right, quick little update on the Phius events and happenings here in the office for what happened in 2021. So you might have not heard too much from us. It was a bit of a change for all of us that started with the advent of COVID. And in March, I myself, unfortunately, and Mike Knesevich as well, so 2 staff members out of 10 were taken out by COVID temporarily. Luckily, we both recovered just fine. And also, the entire Phius staff started working from home. This all probably sounds very familiar to you guys. And we started working with each other over Zoom. So that was the first start into the new kind of work year in 2020. And fair question, like how does that actually affect what we do? Is there something we need to be really concerned about? Are we going to be able to keep up our work, and are we going to be able to keep going? And how does that affect the overall building sector, building industry? The future was uncertain. So with that, just very quickly, I'm very happy to report, and theoretically this should advance my slide, but it's not, and I'm not entirely sure why, but I'm going to try again. Oops, too far. No, I'm not. Okay, so I'm going to go into Phius here in a second. Before I do this, really quickly, thanks to our Hootenanny folks, our Hootenanny presenters. That fits into the whole discussion, of course, as well. The Hootenannies are interactive panels. And what we're trying to do with those panels is like we're trying to highlight our different segments of building professionals that have helped us forward our mission, and I'm going to go into that one here in a second. And so many of you really have taken this and ran with it and have made so phenomenal progress. So our first Builders Hootenanny was a great kickoff because obviously the builders are right there on the ground. They need to figure out how to put things together, how to make details easy to implement and successful to implement, and to also create cost-effective projects. We had Alan Gibson, who is also a board member of Phius, Natalie Leonard, who has been like a long-time pioneer from Canada, Nova Scotia, Rob Leonard, who has been pioneering prefabricated wall systems with Build Smart, Tim McDonald. I think nobody has to introduce Tim McDonald with his projects of onion flats. He really has been groundbreaking to the community. And of course, Mike Steffen as Director of Innovation of Walsh Construction in the Northwest. He recently also just really hit the ball out of the park by like really smart and efficient design strategies that he presented at the last conference in Washington, DC. So fabulous Hootenanny. Thanks to the Hootenanny crew. You guys did a fantastic job. So Then our second Hootenanny was the educator's Hootenanny. For a lot of you, maybe that education piece kind of like happens in the background. What you see as stakeholders of Phius are the online trainings. Our trainings for CPHC, for Certified Passive House Consultant, for Certified Passive House Builders, for verifiers, and for raters. But there's a lot of education also going on in the university realm. And that was, this panel was actually there to showcase to and for the stakeholders what has been happening and has been going on in the university realm. We have a CPHC university pilot curriculum, and all these six fabulous folks that you're seeing here on the screen, Robert Alt and formerly Charles McBride, also from South Dakota State University, now in Texas. Alison Kwok, longtime pioneer and former board member of Phius. John Löcker, now trainer for the CPHC executive training, but also he's parallel teaching it at the Rensselaer College. Cynthia Suarez, you might remember from the closing keynote in Boston in 2018. She was part of the Prairie View team that won under Shelley Potdorf using Phius Plus certification standards, the grand prize of the Solar Decathlon that year with the DOE. And then, of course, also Mary Rogero, Vice President of the Phius Board currently, and also Chair of the Department of Architecture and Interior Design at Miami University of Ohio. So fabulous discussion. All these sessions are being recorded. If you didn't catch them during this week, please go to the Phius website and treat yourself to really lively discussions on these topics. The Architects Hootenanny, that was also really a lot of fun. We had a very diverse panel. We were trying to kind of like get folks from all over the country. We had New York, we had the Mid-Atlantic, we had Chicago, we had Boston, we had Canada. No architect from the Northwest in this particular case, but I promise next time you're going to be on the menu again. Anyway, the architects were showcasing all kinds of different projects, from single family to commercial to multifamily, large scale residence halls, and also natural construction, structurally insulated ramped earth in cold climates for passive house. Really fantastic, affordable, as well as community design that now incorporates direct current and microgrid, which was put kind of like on everybody's radar during last year's annual conference in Washington, D.C. So that's coming up really soon too. So a really nice compilation of work that is going on around the country right now. Then the developers Hootenanny, fantastic. Those guys really took kind of like the cake yesterday. They finally kind of like opened this black box of asset management and finances, and in very clear terms explained how to finance projects, and they kind of developers Hootenanny. Oops, oh no. I'm so sorry. There's still Terrell and Andrew on here. Oy. I apologize. Ryan Cassidy was supposed to be right here, and this one was supposed to be, so at least the four up there, right? Ryan Cassidy, I think that's it. There was only supposed to be one moderator. Apologies for that. Anyway, so look up the recording again, and they are, yeah, it was a great evening. And with that, just very quickly, just trying to run you through where we are at Phius right now. So it was an eventful year. As I mentioned earlier, we started out with a bit of a hiccup of having a COVID outage for two of our staff. And the uncertainties kind of like coming up. And also we had some significant leadership change in Phius. Mike Cornages left the organization and decided to pursue other professional opportunities. And we at Phius are very grateful for his very long-term service to the organization And I wish him best of luck, and hopefully like his new career choices will take him even further than he has helped Phius to grow. So on that note, Lisa White has taken a much more important role within Phius. She is now the associate director. And again, I cannot thank Lisa enough. After I had to take a somewhat extended break because of COVID, she absolutely handled the changes and shifts fantastically. So many thanks to Lisa, rock star in the Phius and Passive House arena, as always. And on that same note, I like to say many thanks to the Phius board as a whole as well, because at that time there somebody had to take over the business leadership as well, and a lot of the Phius board members, especially Walter Gronzik as the president, and also Mary Rogero, stepped up big time to kind of shepherd Phius through a little bit rough waters there for a little bit. But that all said, you can see right here the Phius mission. We held rock steady on our course. Same thing, climate crisis, we're tackling it, passive zero energy ready buildings, in an effort to not only mitigate, but also to adapt to climate change. And on the note of flattening the curve that has been out there in the media so often in regards to COVID, some of you might have seen on social media the cartoons where the so much feared curve of COVID is like much smaller than the actual giant curve that comes right after it, that is called climate change. So in my personal opinion, I think we will have to, it's actually a good training ground. It's like good training wheels, because a lot of these things that we might not like so much right now, and how we have to adjust to life in COVID days, we might have to keep quite a few of those changes to our lifestyle anyhow, to address climate change and to have a chance to hit our global carbon reductions by the time that we need to hit them to avert really irreversible damages to the planet. And on that note, Phius has been working for 15 plus years now to make passive building as the core piece to zero energy buildings commonplace. And I am very proud for all the work that the dedicated small team at Phius has done. We're well on our way. So on that note, also, what looked a little bit like a rocky year at first in March, we took a very thorough tally, looked at all of our services and processes, and started rolling up our sleeves and making everything more efficient and better. And it turned out that we were actually in a really good place. And financially, as well as in terms of programs. We put the training online, all of them, and were able to continue to operate. And also the certifications didn't slow down. So not that much actually changed for us. And on a positive note, we found that we were actually able to continue on our growth path and our plan, and we were able to hire 4 positions that we had been planning for a long time. And I'm very happy to announce that we did so. And so we added Stephen Reed Wynn as our office administrator, Jenny Eber as the alliance coordinator, and Al Mitchell, he is technical staff and assisting Graham Wright in research matters as well. And our most recent add-on is Michael Franco. Very happy to have him on board. Finally, we get to build out our product certification program, and he's just the right man for that. So we're very glad to have all those folks on board. Just quickly, again, summarizing what we do for you in the work world, in the building sector. How do we fulfill our mission and vision? over the last 10 years, we've very diligently worked on the creation of passive building standards and certifications for quality assurance, and on a professional workforce, on the trainings and certificates for this professional workforce to help people to successfully implement such passive building standards. All that is based on very solid research. We remain very much committed to the harmonization with the Department of Energy. Our research together with the Building America program. We work frequently with the national labs here, the publication that you see on the right, the climate-specific passive building standards. That was done and published, not done, but peer-reviewed and published eventually by NREL. So this is all on very solid footing, what we put together here, and the success proved us right. So we have a really, really nice system in place. So again, building certifications, product data sheets, and certifications for the professionals that support these programs. Milestones, most of you are familiar with those. I don't have to go through each and every one of those, but it has been a heavy lift from almost nothing to now, where we see like large 100+ unit multifamily projects being constructed, large commercial projects, large market rate multifamily schools. It has been a very exciting ride. And the most important, as I mentioned earlier, were really the steps, the decisions that we kind of committed to in 2011 to partner with already existing very successful high-performance organizations like ResNet, like the Department of Energy, like Energy Star. We really successfully brought all these different programs together, and it just made for a much more stronger program on the whole. In 2018, we released another update. So again, 2015 really was the original climate-specific passive building standards release. And at that point, we committed to an update every 3 years because things change and we learn a ton, like every year. And the tech committee is working so hard to incorporate all these new learnings into the standards. And the next one is actually going to come out in 2021. We were a little late in 2018. 2021 will be here in January, so we're still very hopeful. There will be a webinar next week, and that entire new update and standards will push us even further into the direction of Phius Plus Source Zero as the final goal, as we always had in the back of our heads. Of course, Phius Plus itself, without Source Zero on-site, Phius Plus itself will still be with us as well. But there will be some exciting new updates. And again, one of these exciting new updates is a prescriptive option for single family. And that has come out of our successful relationship with ResNet, with the Zero Energy Ready Home DOE program. A lot of folks thought that energy modeling adds an undue cost burden and makes it harder for single families. So we actually align yet again with Zero Energy Ready Home on that notion, and ResNet, like, let's make it easier. Let's make it possible that our standards can actually go mainstream. And that's what that is aiming at. So please tune in next Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, take that back, scratch. Next Thursday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, we will present on a draft for 2021, and then you will have opportunity to actually comment on it. Just quickly, a couple metrics, how we kind of keep tracking how well we're doing. You've seen these graphs before, pre-certified and certified. So the good news here is, like, even in the COVID year 2020, we're doing almost as good as last year. Instead of 2 million pre-certified and certified projects, this year we're almost as good. We're at like 1,750,000, somewhere in there we're projecting. So if you guys want to help us to get to like the 2 million again, like, get your projects in there for final certification and we'll be good. But anyway, we're very good. We're sticking right there for COVID year. I think this is a fantastic result. And then if we look at the total certified, pre-certified, and submitted square footage, you can see, like, above and beyond that, like, they're about like another 400 million square feet submitted. So great, our tendency and trend here holds true. Also part of our metrics to see how good we're doing, we continue to very aggressively monitor and get energy performance data back. And we're doing really, really great. We're, as you can see here, within 7% of the model performance on average. So there are always outriggers. They need to be adjusted through post-occupancy monitoring. But in general, our buildings perform really excellently. All right, and long story short, this was just to give you like an idea, like we are doing good. The passive building sector is doing good. Turns out like that climate crisis will only amplify further. So I'm not sure, it's a time slide. Here we go. It wants me to stop and hand over to Tessa. Anyway, so good news, we're totally on track, and hopefully in 2021 we'll be able to meet again in person for the 15th annual North American Passive House Conference in Tarrytown, New York. Our contract has just been moved 1 year later, so with a little bit of luck and good work from hopefully politicians, we'll be able to meet again in person and celebrate and dance in person. So I like to wish everybody a fabulous Design Award networking event. Really excited about this year's projects. They're totally phenomenally fantastic. Always blown away how far this community pushes it every year further and further. So keep going and dance your heels off. And we were joking earlier, this is going to be the test, like how well the passive community dances. All right, with that, I'm going to hand it off to Tessa, and please show us the design winners of this year's 6th design competition. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, earlier I was talking to Katrin, and it is my assessment that she should have never asked this group to dance. I think it's a terrible idea, but that's all right. I'm no pride here. Here we go. Anywho, I love this part of the conferences. It's one of my favorites, and it's a real honor to be here and be a part of the 6th one. We've come a long way. And you know what I think about is what I miss from this when we do it in person is the fun. This is one of the funnest parts of the conference, in my opinion. Everybody has a drink in their hand. Everybody's laughing and talking and enjoying some really great design. And in lieu of being able to do that, I thought we would just have a touch of fun before we jump into the awards. So Lily, if you could please queue up our poll. I wrote down a couple of COVID observations that I've noticed since this whole shenanigan began. First one is observation number 62. Pants are optional. Turns out pants are completely optional. So what I would like to know is who right now is wearing stretchy pants and who right now is not wearing pants at all, because it is my assessment that you are going to take one of those two slots. My partner refers to jeans as hard pants now, as in he has to leave and go to a meeting, so he has to put on his hard pants. All right. All right, you'll have to share the poll results once you get them back, Lily. The other observation that I've noticed, observation number 54. So I grew up homeschooled, which I feel like when you grow up homeschooled, you're a little bit of an alien in your own culture. Sort of like that friend that's not from here, that's foreign, and like they think they're dressing like an American, but they're dressing like their interpretation of how an American dresses. So like the details aren't quite right. The pants are a little too snug, and like this doesn't quite add up to being like how an American dresses. Like homeschoolers can spot other homeschoolers, I feel like. It's just not quite right. We're just not quite on point. And I feel like COVID has made that really confusing because now everybody dresses like a homeschooler. Like everybody's wearing sweatpants, nothing's the right size, all the patterns are all combined, and it's kind of a nightmare, and it's I find it very triggering. Don't you all know that? Observation, this one's good. This one's really good. So hair, I want to talk about hair. Raise your hand if you saw Jesse Thompson's super incredible, amazing multifamily presentation at the Passive House Happy Hour, Passive House Accelerator, which those are just incredible. They're like the funnest thing to look forward to every week, and they do a really good job. But hair, I'm going to make generalizations here, and I recognize they might offend some people. So if they do offend you, you can write to me at graham@essentialhabitat.com, and you can let me know how upset you are by the insulting and humorous things that I say. But anyway, hair. So this is really great, actually. Look at that. So hair. I feel like, you know, we kind of subtly categorize people as we go through life as a human. And I feel like hair has made that a lot harder because, you know, the men are growing this way and the women, like, we don't have access to haircuts, so we're growing this way. And I feel like I'm walking that line between like average professional, but also people starting to wonder, like, does she sew her own clothing and only eat her own canned goods? Like, I feel like I'm on that vibe. And then the other thing I'm noticing is that, like, it's pretty hard to tell with dudes, like, if they're architects anymore. This is Jesse Thompson, who is my favorite architect, absolutely brilliant, totally crushed it this week. But look at that, look at it. I mean, he's normally so clean cut and he's got trendy shoes on and you can tell he's an architect. And now I'm like, is he doing like a Duck Dynasty thing? And like, and it confuses the climate change issue in my brain too. Like, is he really, really, really believe in climate change? Like he has a basement ready? Or like, does he really, really, really not believe in climate change and thinks that it's like liberal propaganda? I feel like the beard has made that harder to tell. And then last but not least, I'm going to subject you to the fact that during COVID, I actually got engaged and married, which is a very weird thing to happen during COVID. And I do believe it's a relationship test, maybe the relationship test, to spend 24 hours with someone for 9 months straight. And I didn't think there was a human on the planet that could tolerate me that long, or that I could tolerate that long, but I found one, so I married him. But strange times, right? There you go. Well, there, you all had to listen to me get my networking in. I apologize. Now I'm going to change my background back. 1 second. I just learned to do this. Lily taught me, and I think she created a monster.
I've got the pants poll ready also whenever you're ready.
Yeah. Hit us with the pants poll.
All right, the results are on the screen.
18% of you aren't wearing pants right now. I challenge you guys, if it gets boring to listen to me, to try to figure out who's wearing pants and who's not. You can post your thoughts in the comments. All right, let's get to it, shall we? Because this is, I was stunned by the quality of the submissions this year. I know the judges were also stunned by the quality of submissions, and we put a lot of work into this. There's some incredible stuff to show you guys. So you wanna kick off our PowerPoint there, Lily? I think we have welcomed you sufficiently and made you take a pants poll. So just a little bit about me. I am an architect and I own a women-owned firm in near Seattle, Washington in Olympia. And we have been a part of the Passive House movement since about 2009, 2010. And I have been a friend of Katrin's and an admirer of Katrin's a very long time. And we have gotten to do some wonderful Passive House projects, some of which have won some of the awards that I'll get to present tonight. So it's a real circular honor. So anywho, I think that's all you need to know about me. If you want to advance the slide. Perfect. So this was our jurors this year. It was an amazing group with a really diverse background. We have Katrin Klingenberg, Shannen Martin, Arathi Gowda, Graham Irwin, and then myself. And I am changing my last name, or I have changed my last name, which I find people have found really confusing. I don't know why. You can still see me on the Zoom. It's obviously me. But anywho, we can go to the next slide, Lily. So our first criteria is going to be for the single family award. We got, like I said, a lot of really competitive submissions this year, but our honorable mention is going to be the South Jersey Passive House. If you'd like to advance to the next slide, Lily. I will say that the judges really loved the eye for moderation in this design. It's really subtle. It's really well thought out. The details make a lot of sense, and there's a real kind of hierarchy and organization to this design. And we felt like it was just an incredible piece of passive house architecture. So I don't know if the group that did that work would like to say a few words. You can unmute yourselves and do that at this time.
Yes, hi, I'm Ilka, and I was the architect and CPHC on the project. And yeah, thank you so much. This is really, really exciting for us. And yeah, I'm really happy that this project got recognized, because we were actually working with a very tight budget on this one. And yeah, I'm just really happy that we made it possible for the owners. The owners are pretty awesome. They're a young couple, and they just really wanted a passive house, and they were willing to, you know, kind of go with a smaller, pretty simple footprint. And we used all pre-manufactured components. And the owners actually took a lot of work to themselves as well. So they pretty much finished the whole house from the inside. And Steve Hessler for Hugh Lofting was working with them. He was the builder, and he was working with them with, you know, kind of having a reasonable builder-owner scope kind of handoff. And yeah, the owners are done. It looks beautiful. They are happy, and they are actually expecting their first baby any day. Thank you.
Well, it's beautiful work, Ilka. It's going to be a healthy baby in such a healthy house. So as a reminder for those that are curious, the judges judged each project by performance, design, craftsmanship, health, difficulty of execution, and cost effectiveness. So you did a wonderful job, Ilka. Thank you. If you would like to go to the next slide. The winner of our single family award is the Ballard Passive House. Go ahead, Lily. This is a beautiful project in Ballard, Seattle, and Washington, and we were really impressed by the details and the materiality. It's really beautifully executed. The judges had numerous wonderful things to say, particularly about the interiors and the front facade. And also, I would say my favorite thing about this project was there's a really bold courtyard kind of carved out in the middle. That I think, you know, those kinds of decisions can be scary as an architect. You know, am I blocking the light? Am I making something dark? And they just executed this so beautifully that we really felt there was no other option for the winner of the single family award. So if you guys would like, the group that did that, if you'd like to unmute yourself and talk about your design, that would be great. Perhaps we don't have anyone here.
So yes, thank you. No, our internet connection just got a little choppy, so I hope everyone can hear us okay.
We can hear you.
Great. So this is Taylor Calloway. He was the CPHC for the project and the lead architect. I'm Kevin Witt. I'm a Passive House certified builder, and we were the general contractors on this project as well. Tessa is correct that courtyard paid dividends throughout the project. We kind of kept coming back to that, not only as a design element, but it really helped us control that southern exposure, gain some distance from the neighbor, and give us the leverage that we needed for the modeling. So that was an excellent part of the design. We were also lucky with the clients in this one. Most of the things that they wanted programmatically overlaid very well with Passive House and certification, you know, acoustic privacy from the outdoors. And they lived in a 4-star built green home that Taylor and I built back in 2013. So they were primed for an energy efficient home. They wanted more than that. And so Timing, we got really lucky with the timing on this one. Right clients, right time, right point in our education with Passive House for us to be able to do this project.
Yeah, I would just want to say we're thrilled and honored to be a part of the community. This was our first certified project, and we're looking forward to a lot more. And just thank you guys very much. We're very, very honored.
It's stunning, and you know, it speaks loads to me that your clients are repeat clients, came back to you guys again. So kudos and wonderful job. We were just thrilled with it. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, I think that takes us on to multifamily, which was, again, a really, really, really hard category because the quality of the work submitted was so incredible. And, you know, the momentum behind multifamily and Passive House, particularly Phius, is really exciting. So the honorable mention for multifamily is 542 West 153rd Street. If you guys would like to move on to the slide with the pictures, we loved the pragmatism of this design. A lot of the judges were really taken with the facade and the use of the windows in correlation with the facade, how it's really whimsical and fun, but definitely honoring, you know, the massing of the building and the need for it to be fairly straightforward in a lot of other ways. Quite an achievement. And so if the folks that did this project would like to unmute and speak to some of its attributes now, that would be awesome. We'll give them just another minute just in case they're having internet issues or have forgotten where the mute button is, which happens to me all the time. Okay, awesome. Katrin, is there anything you wanted to add to this one if those folks aren't here to speak on its behalf?
Yes, I actually want to. Most of you probably know the architect of this project. Chris Benedict has been a pioneer for Passive House, and actually without her I probably would not be here. The story is the funniest. She called me up in 2006 and said, like, you have to come and present at Nessie, and I'm like, who are you? I'm not coming, like, leave me alone. And she was super persistent and insisted that I had to come to Nessie. And that's really how the whole kind of story started. We're like, oh, okay, there's a whole community here, and let's yeah, it was phenomenal to learn about Chris's projects and where the high performance community in North America already was. It was really exciting to bring like all these ideas together. So this is a fabulous project because it was one of the first market rate ones. And again, Chris is like always out there on the front lines. Like, she was one of the first ones doing an affordable passive house. Then she did one of the first market rates. Now she's working on a whole slew of like first kind of energy strong kind of style exterior retrofit projects. So thanks to Chris Benedict RA and her fantastic leadership and work, I'd say, in New York City and nationwide.
Yeah, it's really stunning. Chris did an amazing job, and she's such a powerhouse. It's a pleasure to get to be a part of this community with her. So let's move on to our grand prize winner of multifamily. I'm really delighted to report this one. I do know Sloan Ritchie, who I believe did this project, Pax Futura, and it's an absolutely stunning project. I love it. Architecturally, the performance is incredible. He did a really good job presenting it at the Developers Hootenanny, for those of you who saw that. And the judges in general, I think, were very impressed by the fact that it's market rate, by the fact that the detailing is so clean. The operable shades are actually being used by the occupants, very exciting. And it just was sort of a clear winner in this category. So if someone who's involved on that project wants to unmute and speak to it, we'd love to hear from you at this time.
Thank you, Tessa. It's an honor. I'm excited to be part of this and to win this award. It's awesome. It's great because this building was sort of a giant experiment. You know, a lot of the things we kind of thought through, but we really had no idea if the sliding screens would work or if people would use them or if they'd be too expensive or whatever. So it's nice to see this sort of come full circle and be part of this process. And I want to thank Phius for supporting us all these years and putting together all these events to bring people together. I've heard it said before, it's a team sport, and it so much that is so true. You know, there's just, I can't even tell you how many people have been an integral part of this project and other projects we've done. Just having the community to talk to and say, hey, how have you done this before? What works? What doesn't work? Really is what makes this all kind of possible. When you're going out on a limb and, taking a risk and trying something new, it's great to have such a wonderful community to support. So thank you.
Thank you, Sloan. I know personally I've been super inspired by your work and have loved following it over the years. So incredible, incredible project. We're just really delighted to award you this.
Thanks, Tessa.
Please advance us. Perfect. Honorable mention for affordable. The affordable category was also had a ton of submissions, and they were just incredible. Things I wasn't aware of, things that were just so impressive in scope and in accomplishment. So for our honorable mention for the affordable category, we are doing Beach Green Dunes 2. If you'd like to go on to the next slide, Lily. Super big project, really impressed with it. I'm trying to remember specific notes about this one. I think this would be a good time for the winners to unmute if they are on the Zoom call. This would be a great time to talk about your project. I know we were really impressed with the integration of the renewables and some of the community aspects of this one. Anything else would be wonderful.
Thank you, Tessa, and thank you, Phius. This is Mark Ginsberg of Curtis Ginsberg Architects, and greatly appreciate the award. I think one of the most interesting things, which you can see in the photo on the upper left, is Beach Green Dune 2 is next to Beach Green Dune 1, and they're both passive house, but many of the systems are very different. The wall construction in one was ICF and 2 was CMU and was more layered. We have more PV in 2. Beach Green Dune 2 has ground source heat pumps for heating and cooling, where 1 had VRFs, and then 2 had centralized ERVs as compared to 1 which had unitized or individual. And we, with Stephen Winters, who was the rater, are talking about trying to do analysis and seeing if, once this is running for a while, if we can compare the 2 and see what we've learned as we continue. We have 2 more passive house in construction and a number more in design, and we're really hoping to make this a standard for affordable housing in New York and beyond, and need to learn as much as we can. And so thank you all very much.
Hey, Mark, can you remind me of the, approximately the size of this project? I remember we were all the judges were very impressed by the scale. I mean, it's a very large passive building.
It's 120 units. It also has about a 3,000 square foot ground floor commercial, which you can see to the left of the building entrance. And then because we're in a flood zone out on the Rockaways, although we have good subway access, as you can also see, the ground floor has a dry flood proof commercial, the lobby, and then parking. And then the exterior parking has PV trellises over it to increase our PV production.
Fabulous. I love the resiliency in that. Beautiful, beautiful project, Mark. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I believe that brings us to the winner of the affordable category, which is my absolute favorite project to announce. Finch Cambridge. If you'd like to advance to the next slide, it's low-income housing and it's stunning. The massing is so fun and the detailing just feels really smart and really on point. And it just looks like such a fun and whimsical space to be in and to live in. And there were so many things that the judges just loved about it. Such an impressive project. So for those that were involved on this project, if you'd like to unmute yourself at this time and tell us a little bit about it, I would certainly love to hear more.
Thank you, Tessa, and thank you, Katrin. And wow, it's good to see so many familiar faces, even if it's on Zoom. We are just so grateful that we had an owner that took the leap of faith with us, and we had some extraordinary opportunities through the state. We had Mass CEC, and I know Beverly Craig is on, providing passive house incentives for affordable housing, which led to our state utilities through Mass Save providing incentives, and also ultimately led to our own, Department of Housing and Community Development deciding that they too should consider passive house as at a higher value, as Pennsylvania and so many places have done. So it was a true team effort, and I couldn't say enough for the contractor. And let's just all acknowledge that as much as we design it, it has to be built right, and it takes craft. And I'm super grateful that we had such a committed builder on board early on, totally ready to dig into it with us, and definitely troubleshoot along the way when we were not where we needed to be. And so thank you. We're really grateful. 98 units, affordable housing, 2 blocks away from where my kids go to school. So I also drive by it almost every day when school happens. So extra special. Thanks.
It's absolutely gorgeous. And just, yeah, I thought it was just a stunning project, Michelle. Great job to you and the whole team. So I probably sound like a broken record, but the commercial submissions were equally impressive. And I think you'll see why once we get into them. They're just rolling in, and the momentum there is also really inspiring. The honorable mention is Tantrum Commercial, which is 5,500 square feet in British Columbia. And we felt like it was a really wonderful study of, how to minimize the trauma to a neighborhood of developing something infill like this, but to honor the scale and have some whimsical details and, have some homages to the traditional, archetypes, but then also, have that fun kind of modern twist that's moving us forward. And we just felt like this was such a beautiful execution, and really also, showed some restraint and some modesty in its design. So if the folks that were involved in this project would like to unmute and talk about it, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, it's David from Stark Architecture up in Squamish, BC. Yeah, really honored to be awarded this. It was a great project, though obviously, like all the others, I'm sure an uphill battle, especially this was the first ever office commercial certified building in North America. I'd like to give a shout out to Tad Everhart at Certifiers, who helped us through the process, and also Greg and Kim and all the team at Tree Construction. As the previous person said, it takes a lot of skill from the contractor to pull this all together. Easy enough to draw, but to pull all together is a bit of a task. And then also, as others have said, the client plays such a huge role in this, for being willing to take a chance and believe in the consultant team and give us a shot at this. It was a great fun project. Yeah, thank you very much.
It's fabulous, David. I was really impressed. Our firm, myself, does a lot of work at this scale, kind of small commercial. And I feel like there's just a lot of challenges to figuring out how to make the numbers work, and to having it be a priority for the owner, who's generally under a lot of other stresses with a project like this, when they're not, a big developer, and they're not, have access to a lot of resources and things like that. So I really thought the scale was really impressive. I know how difficult that can be. Great job. So now we are moving on to the winner of the commercial. And this is, I think this project is going to blow everybody away. It definitely blew the judges away. If you'd like to advance, it's the Siemens Center. And yeah, I'm getting thumbs up from Michelle. It is in China. Qingdao, I believe, is how it's pronounced, but I'm not sure. Feel free to correct me. And it was absolutely stunning. A lot of the judges' response to this was they loved the scale. They loved the inspiring nature of the forms and the biophilic, obvious biophilic influences there. And on so many levels, the scale was incredibly impressive. And so to those people that were involved on this project, if you would like to unmute yourselves and tell us a little bit about it, I would certainly love to hear more about this one. We'll give you, I think, isn't this Ludwig's project, Katrin? So let's give him just a minute more because I saw him earlier and
I see him here.
Hey, Lily, can you unmute Ludwig? He's muted.
I can see Ludwig talking, but I can't hear him, unfortunately.
Yeah, weird.
Um,
Chat.
well, it is such an amazing project. Do you want to move on, or would you like me to share an anecdote while we try to get that solved, Katrin?
Hold on. Let's try. Ludwig, can you try again? Can you hear me? Yeah, for some reason we can't hear you at all. How do we resolve this? Lily, do you have any recommendations?
If you have headphones nearby, potentially plug that in. It might be an issue with the mic and you need an external mic.
I can take that.
Oh,
now
there we go. We can hear you. Wonderful.
Fine. Fine. Okay. Yeah, then I start again. Okay. I'm Ludwig Gorgen. That was a very important project for us when we got the order to do it, to design that project. It was a common Chinese-German project in the Sino-German Eco Park in Qingdao in China. And we invited two friends to participate in that project, Gernot Valentin from Munich and Michael Tribus from Bolsona in Italy. For us, it was a very important project. When we started the design, there was no urban development, nothing. And what was the idea? And for the Chinese clients, it was very important to prove that project should prove that there are no boundaries if it comes to aesthetics, also in the case of passive houses. They said, oh, passive houses look always ugly, ugly cubes, and please, could you design an organic building? And we sometimes, some of the clients told us that Qingdao is a region which is very famous for its boulders, which you can find there. And so we had the idea to design stones, a group of stones. The main building should reminiscence of boulders. Also, the small building in the front of the main building, that's a restaurant, and the cubes, the ventilation boxes of the underground car park, they are also stones. That was the idea. We also thought about to supply that building with renewables. So we designed curved balcony parapets from PV elements. And the PV elements made that building to plus or to passive house premium. But then the client decided, because of the time, no, we do not have time enough to create that, and we developed the puppets together with an Austrian company, but the client decided for aluminium panels because of running time. There was a very important event, political event. So they wanted to reduce the construction time. So it was a pity. Could have been a little bit better. A Passive House Premium, but we started, or I signed the contract for the design of that building in July 2014, and the opening ceremony was 2 years, 2 months, and 14 days later, after signing the contract for the design. There was the opening ceremony, but for us it was a very successful project, and 1 year after the opening ceremony, Siemens, the worldwide concern Siemens, or since then, Siemens rented that building as a Siemens dependance to present Siemens as a company who feel responsible for sustainable, for climate protection and so on. And so it should change the name. From then, it was not called Passive House Technical Experience Center, it was called Siemens Center. That's
an incredible turnaround. That's an incredible turnaround on that project, Ludwig. I mean,
Yes,
the timeline itself is incredibly impressive, and the architecture is stunning, and the performance is just out of this world. So thanks so much for submitting. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
I think that brings us to a new category that the judges chose to add this year, which is schools and institutions. It felt a little wrong to compare so much of the stunning school and institution work that was submitted to, the wide breadth of the other commercial possibilities. And so we decided to give it its own category. Our honorable mention is the secondary school. And Katrin, will you say it's Bosweiler?
Well, Ludwig corrected me on that one. I thought it was Bosweiler, but Ludwig, you can just continue on.
Yeah, that school was a retrofit from an existing building from 1971. When we started the design, that school was around 42, 43 years old. Then we started the first building section. And the idea was to give that building, or all the building sections, their own identity. So we, on the north, we reduced the window sizes, and we extended the windows on the south. And you can see the bearing construction through the windows, and we decided for different colors. One section, the piles were, and the building construction, on the bearing construction, were yellow, red, green, and blue. And also, we decided for different sizes of plates, of panels for the facade. The panels which we used are high pressure laminate panels. It's nothing other than recycled paper. And the different sizes and the different Greek colors should make it possible to change panels from time to time. It could be necessary in the case of schools, but so we had to handle thermal bridging. And the city of Bosweiler got a state grant of around 4.8 million euros for that project, but it was obligated to reach the Passive House certificate for new buildings, not ENERFIT, for new buildings with limited heat demand of 15 kilowatt hours per square meter per year. It was not so easy to reach that aim, but we could reach it. So they got not only that state grant, after finishing the first building phase, we won a German-wide competition. It was called Municipal Climate Protection Competition, and the city of Barcelona won that competition. And it was combined with a prize money of around 40,000 euros.
And Ludwig, someone from the audience asked, this is in Germany, correct?
Yes, it's in Germany, near Aachen, in North Rhine-Westphalia. Yeah, that project brought us a lot of following projects, but it's one of the most famous school retrofits in Germany up to now.
Well, Katrin, brought a lot of the judges up to date on some of that history in the judging process, Ludwig, and we were very impressed, not just with the design, but the accomplishment of being an innovative forerunner like you have been. So thanks for paving the way for so many schools to follow in your footsteps. Thank you.
Thank you.
I believe that brings us to the winner of school institutions, which this was a very talked about project. Again, this is a study in restraint. And everyone was really pleased with the excellent detailing we saw, especially given the priorities of simple massing and some cost efficacy there, no doubt. The Wheaton College Pine Hall is the winner, and it is absolutely amazing in my opinion. I'm loving the punched window openings on such a wonderful grid. There's a little bit of whimsy with the way they angled the buildings and that entry process with the center tower. And the judges, it was very clear to us how much time and attention had been paid to whatever was there had a lot of purpose. Is very essential. So the folks that were involved on this project, if you'd like to unmute yourselves and say something about it, we'd love to hear more.
Great. Thank you, Tessa and jurors and Kat and Phius. This is Andrew Steingeiser from SGA in Boston. Yeah, we also have to thank our clients on this one for realizing the importance of pursuing Phius certification in their goal of campus sustainability. Obviously, without their willingness to go through the steps of required here, we wouldn't have a certified building in front of us. Yeah, so this is the first Phius certified res hall in Massachusetts, and maybe the largest nationally at this point. You guys can confirm that. But yeah, this is a 45,000 square foot, 178 bed res hall. It's got a design at UI of about 26. And yeah, it really utilizes conventional large building systems. So a lot of what we did here could be applied to other commercial office buildings. And I hope to send more projects like this your way, Kat and Phius.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you very much, and thanks for all the great work you're doing.
Amazing work, Andrew. I love the scalability of that, and obviously a lot of thought went into it. It's amazing.
Thank you.
I think, oh yes, I know what the next category is. This is a very fun one. Source Zero. So our honorable mention for Source Zero is Wildwood Passive House. I would say much like the Incredible School project that took first, this one is another study in restraint. And everything that is present on the design is very well considered and very organized. And I feel like you can really see that come across really strongly. The minimalism is a language. And so we felt like it was very deserving of the Honorable Mention Award, and its energy performance is stunning. And we would love to hear more from the folks involved on this project if you are on this Zoom call. So if you could unmute yourselves at this time and tell us more about it, that would be wonderful. Oh, by the way, this one is located in Illinois, 3,500 square feet.
Wildwood isn't here. They
Oh,
won't be
okay.
here.
Well, it looks like Brandon Weiss was the CPHC, and yeah, it was a wonderful project.
Well, maybe I can add a little bit more info on it. The jury also liked it because it had like a communal aspect to it. This is, I believe, the first of quite many more of those projects within a planned development. And the idea here is to have a overproducing microgrid community that also feeds electric vehicles and so on and so forth. So holistic design on a community scale level, and again, pointing towards like the future of microgrid design for communities.
Yeah, and in Illinois, it's no small feat. The climate is
Nope.
unforgiving, as Katrin will tell you. So we did give extra points for that. I just saw a question, who's the architect? Does anyone, I don't have that in my notes. The judging is blind. You're not allowed to know who did what. So
I believe it's design build. So evolutionary builders, but I could be wrong. So I'm not going to put my hand in the fire for that.
okay, so when the winners are published, I'm sure it'll be explicitly spelled out there. Sorry about that, guys. I believe we're moving on to the winner of the Source Zero category, which is the Tracy Community Housing. We thought this was really impressive, that it was multifamily and that it also was Source Zero. We loved the use of the renewables and that awning. We thought the colors were very fun and fresh, and that, actually a lot was done with the rhythm and the massing, despite, a lot of constraints around the project. So if the folks that are involved on Tracy Community Housing would like to speak about this one, it's an incredible project. We'd love to hear more. If you'd like to unmute yourselves at this time. And we'll give them just a minute more, make sure there's not technical difficulties. I'm not sure. This one's in Lebanon, New Hampshire. It's 26,000 square feet, 29 units. And the CPHC is Chris West. Is there any more info you can add to that, Katrin?
No, other than that Chris West has been leading quite a few multifamily projects out in the Northeast. So he has been doing great work. But yeah, I have no more info on this particular project.
Well, the pictures speak for themselves. Great project. All right, we will move on. So this category is one that I have been really honored to win several times. Graham Irwin's question to me this week was, have you finally aged out of the young professionals category? And the answer is no, I have 1 year left. Thank you very much. So I was really excited to judge this category. It was, I'm glad I wasn't competing in it this year because it was an incredible submissions. Really the scale of the work and the execution of the work was really, really inspiring. So Meadow House is our honorable mention. If you'd like to go to the next slide. Particularly, a lot of the judges were very taken with the materials and the front facade of this, how well composed it is, and how the materials really wrap around the volumes. It has a really strong language. And yeah, stunning, stunning work. If the folks that were involved on this project would like to unmute themselves and speak to it, I certainly know I would love to know more. This is in Park City, Utah. It is 4,500 square feet. And I think there's probably a young architect that would like to tell us about it.
Yep. This is Chris Price, and I'm the CPHC and the architect on this. And it was just great to have a client moving in from California who kind of from Berkeley area who really cared about, doing something a little bit more energy efficient and super modern. So, without them, obviously none of this could have happened. And we teamed up with Travis Smith, who's a really good certified passive house builder in Park City. So me and him, and then really great clients. So it was a lot of fun to do, and yeah, so that's all. Thank you.
I particularly liked the rooftop deck aspect as well off of the living spaces. I love the little flip of, you know, the living space being on the top and the bedrooms and other utilities being on the bottom. And just thought the whole thing was just really fun and really well done.
Yeah, thanks. The house to the south of it was blocking all the views, so we had to like raise all the living spaces to the highest level. So it was, and then it was a pretty constrained height limits restriction, so we had to kind of stagger all the masses to the grade and everything. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
So Tessa, I just like remembered something when I was photographing all the prizes and like the trophies today. We actually didn't have affordable mention for the young category, but we have given 2 prizes in the young category before, and they were equally weighted. So instead of this being second place, we have 2 like
First place winners.
a tie. Yes.
Oh, I love that, because the 2 projects. So congrats, Chris.
Because we really couldn't decide.
You just
one.
Yeah, you got a very deserved upgrade. So yeah, wonderful project, and I'm really glad to hear that, because this, you know, in its venue, this is amazing, and then the other project is a very different scale. So I'm really glad to hear that we can honor both for their very individual and
winner under 35, two as a tie. Yeah, that's
perfect. So our second winner under 35 is the Finch Cambridge. So not only was this multifamily and was it a cost-effective project, but it was done by a professional under the age of 35. So really incredible, incredible work. And I believe, I don't want to get myself confused. Was this you, Andrew? Andrew, you did this one? Or who's? Person who did this has already spoken and I already forgot.
That's Michelle.
It's Michelle, that's right. Michelle, do you have anything else you'd like to say about this project? She might not be on anymore, which is no problem. She spoke so eloquently about it to begin with, but really, really stunning.
No. Hey,
sorry,
Tessa,
can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes, there she is. Okay.
There we go.
Sorry.
Awesome.
I think Michelle stepped out. I'm technically the under 35 participant here. So.
Oh, fabulous! Hello, Gabby. Welcome.
Hi. I think Michelle outlined everything I would say, and Bev has been so kind to put little highlights in the chat for everyone as well. But I'm just saying hi. And thank you.
All right.
Amazing work, Gabby. Absolutely incredible, inspiring. All right, I think that brings us to the Grand Poobah, which I'm glad you're on, Gabby, because the overall winner of the best project is also Finch Cambridge. So we are obviously very smitten with this project, both in its scale, its execution, its attention to detail, its design, its outstanding performance. And for those who are not watching the chat, it is in Cambridge, Massachusetts. It's 101,000 square feet, 98 units. And Gabby, do you want to, what was your role on the project? I'm just curious.
So I run the sustainability committee with Michelle Pigian at Icon Architecture. So we're the architect of record. We're both certified CPHCs, but we didn't act as CPHC for this project.
Awesome. It looks like that was Ian Johnson. He was part of the team as well. Mm-hmm. Very cool. Well, I think that brings to a close our awards, and I appreciate everyone still making their recipients feel special by attending. And yeah, I can't get over how incredible the work was this year. The judges, it was such a diverse and wonderful group. Yeah, what a pleasure. Thank you so much, everybody. I think we have a few announcements of upcoming events that Katrin might jump on, and a few sponsorship notifications. So if you have not donated to this event, you should really consider it, because INOMA is the Illinois INOMA is the Illinois chapter of the National Organization of Minority Architects, and Phius is very kindly splitting the proceeds with them of the donations for this conference this year. And anyone who is in this industry knows that we have absolutely appalling diversity. So it's really a pleasure to get to participate in something so wonderful and that so many of us could benefit from. So the next is New York. Oh, how do I say that? NYSERDA? NYSERDA. You want to say? I don't know what that is, Katrin, sorry.
That's okay. That was perfect. I was like, actually, in fact,
Okay.
I should adopt your pronunciation. Those are the guys who like really helped to make Passive House go all the way to the top as almost close to code. The New York State Energy, and then that's where I lose it too. But they are funding energy efficiency efforts in New York State, and they've been the driver behind all those changes in New York State. So very grateful to their help and subsidy. I shouldn't say subsidies, support to the effort. Yes.
And it looks like amazing sponsors. One particularly stands out to me, Passive House Accelerator, the media partners. They are running happy hours every week, and they are some of the funnest things I do every week. They're a real pleasure. So if you haven't checked them out, I highly recommend it. They're really well run. And then our Phius partners, because nothing is possible without sponsorship. So thank you so much to people that have made this possible. And then here's some upcoming events that you might be interested in. Do you want to speak to those at all, Katrin?
Most importantly, yes, for those of you who are CPHC or like, builders and verifiers and writers alike, 2021 preview next Thursday, super exciting. Definitely a good time to chime in here. Check the time. I thought it was 6 Eastern, but we might have conflicting information here. And then Jenny has done a fantastic job lining up webinars for the next couple months. So the next one is coming up on November 17. Phius member meeting, if you guys are members, very exciting. We have our annual member meeting. So very important, make your voice heard. We're very glad that we actually can do this still online. And then new member benefits, the member office hours, they have been super, super popular. So very helpful if you're working on a project and you need some input and help from the professional staff here at Phius. We're here for you. That's it.